It is April 18th, 2025. And we're going to bust right through this. I got to get up early, so I don't know if you've seen this thing before, but it's growing. It is. It's growing. Check it out. This is where you go if they get mean. This is where you go. They try to stop the PrepperNow. Stop the crisis report. This is where you go. Right here. Okay? We're going to the aftermath of the Houthis getting hit. At the end, the old Trumperino is saying that he might be abandoning this whole Ukraine peace talk and just let them go at it with each other because they think it's a waste of time. They're not doing it. They're not into it. They're not coming to each other. They're not trying to help. So, yeah, okay, we'll just have to see. So we're going to go through this pretty, not quickly, but we're not going to take our time and spread out because honestly, I should be in bed in about 30 minutes. So let's get started on your crisis report. USA to abandon Ukraine. Here we go. Houthis say the death toll is up to 58 in United States strikes on Yemen in the port, Ras Isa. Putin order not to hit Ukraine energy targets has expired. That's according to the Kremlin. United States unveiled new port fees on Chinese-built and operated ships Thursday in a bid to boost the domestic shipbuilding industry and curb China's dominance in the sector. Trump admitted studying options to fire Fed Chair Powell, according to the White House. Trump has exposed MS-13 tattoos on Abrego Garcia's knuckles. Those are the knuckles he used to hit his loving wife. And then covered them with emojis in a fundraiser photo. Good to know that she's able to take a beating so she can get her payday, because Lord knows she's going to get paid by sticking with him. She's probably getting checks in the mail right now. China is importing record amounts of Canadian oil after cutting U.S. purchases by 90% amid the trade war. Trump officially rejects Israel's plan to strike Iran nuclear sites, according to the New York Times. Apparently, Israel has drawn up a plan in which the U.S. military is supposed to do the main work. This has divided the Trump cabinet because it puts American soldiers in the Middle East at great risk. Yeah, don't do that. Chinese companies have now started selling the products they use to make for Louis Vuitton, Prada, etc. at normal prices, like a $20 bag. Instead of $2,000, they're making a big fuss about it and making fun of it. I think that's great. China has completely stopped buying liquefied natural gas in the U.S., according to Financial Times. Rubio told Lavrov that the United States could abandon a peace deal on Ukraine if there are no clear signs that it can be achieved. Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance teamed up to oppose war with Iran, according to the New York Times. Good for them. Israel had planned to strike Iranian nuclear sites as soon as next month, but was waved off by President Trump in recent weeks in favor of negotiating a deal with Tehran to limit its nuclear program, according to administration officials and others briefed on the discussions. Thing about this right now, a Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's trying not to get into war. I'm impressed with that. Trump says he will walk away from ceasefire mediation if Russia and Ukraine don't reach an agreement. If for some reason one of the two parties make it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're just going to take a pass. So, journalists collapsed during Trump's press conference today. Said if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, your life will be in great danger. I'm not sure if it was. She looked young when I saw the video. And there were other youngins in there, so it might have been a youngin. So, not quite sure it was a journalist. Media reports say Russia and Ukraine are going to exchange nearly 500 people tomorrow ahead of Easter. Some of them are wounded. United Arab Emirates, again, is the mediator. Over 3,000 POWs were exchanged with the help of the UAE so far. Good for them. James Webb Space Telescope has detected the first ever potential sign of biological life in space. This thing is hundreds of trillions of miles away. So we can see it, we just probably can't get there. Trump says nobody can compete with the United States. We're going to make a very good deal with China. Sure. U.S. government will screen the social media of immigrants and visa applicants for anti-Semitic activity. Trump's administration aims to crack down on pro-Palestinian protests. Steve Witkoff compares l'Élysée Palace in Paris to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida. It's fabulous. Trump works on it himself like an architect. China has completely stopped importing liquefied natural gas from the U.S. over the next 10 weeks. China's tariffs on U.S. LNG, starting at 15% in February, escalating to 49%, effectively pricing U.S. LNG out of the Chinese market. So, oh well. Trump has signaled tariff pause on China. U.S. President Donald Trump suggested that further tariff hikes on China may be off the table, citing concerns over consumer impact. I don't want them to go higher because at a certain point, you make it where people don't buy. That is correct. It's like the Laffer curve in taxes. You only tax so much before people just don't do it anymore. U.S. tech firm Palantir is deepening its support for ICE under Trump's hardline immigration agenda. Internal messages show the company is building new tools and data systems to help track and locate individual target for deportation. Palantir supported Trump-backed efforts like the Elon Musk-led Doge initiative. Co-founder Peter Thiel is a key Trump ally and donor. The company hired Trump-linked lobbying firms to secure defense contracts and influence appropriations. How much time will it take for a trade deal with China? Trump responded by saying, I would think it would take about 3 to 4 weeks. Hopefully. FDA is planning to end routine food safety inspections and outsource oversight to state and local authorities. This is called federalism, folks, okay? Federal government doesn't need to do everything, and I'm sure that Texas and North Dakota and California, they can do their own thing and get their own inspectors and make sure we have a nice, safe food supply like probably in the past. U.S. officials indicated in a meeting with Europeans in Paris that they want to secure a full ceasefire in Ukraine within weeks, according to Bloomberg. Canada's Carney says Trump is trying to break us so the U.S. can own us. They want our land, they want our resources, they want our water, they want our country, and we are all going to stand up against Donald Trump. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says latest tariffs have generated $500 million, well below Trump's estimate. Well, it's been, what, a week? So let's give it some time. I don't think he's doing it because he wants to make a crap load of money. I think he's doing it because he thinks it'll bring people to the table and negotiate a better deal. And that's what I'm hoping. But could it backfire and go totally wrong? Absolutely. And trust me, we'll be there to talk about it and probably not be happy with it. You know, this is a grand experiment we're doing with Mr. Trump. We'll have to see. Houthi Ministry of Health in Yemen. The number of people killed in the American attacks on Ras Isa last night was 58. Number of injured was 126. Number's not final. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov says Iran is ready to seek a deal within the nuclear non-proliferation agreement. Massive U.S. Army convoys withdraw from Syria heading towards Iraq. First phase of the U.S. withdrawal from Syria saw around 600 troops pulled out, bringing total troop numbers down to about 1,400. The U.S. bases in northeastern Syria were closed, including one near the Conoco gas field at Deir ez-Zor. Some U.S. Army commanders support keeping at least 500 troops in Syria. Trump asked new U.S. Ambassador to Israel Huckabee to place a note for him in the Western Wall. The Trump wrote, "For peace in Israel, Donald Trump." Ukraine has uncovered the remains of 909 soldiers from front lines in Russian territory in a large-scale operation coordinated by the country's POW agency. Russia received 41 bodies. U.S. deploys B-1B bombers to Japan for the first time since Vietnam War. U.S. Air Force has deployed B-1B Lancer bombers to Misawa Air Base in Japan. Mission aims to enhance operational readiness in the Indo-Pacific. Aircraft is expected to conduct joint drills with regional partners, including South Korea. French Foreign Ministry announced travel ban for French citizens to Iran, regardless of the reason. U.S. public split on Russia. Yep. Copyright issues. Oh my God. My live stream. Oh God. I guess I can't play stuff on there anymore. 50% see Russia as an enemy, down from 70% in 2022. 34% view it as a competitor. 9% see it as a partner. Amongst Republicans, only 40% now call Russia an enemy, down from 58% in 2024. 12% see Russia as a partner, higher than before the Ukraine war. For the first time since 2022, more Republicans view Russia as a competitor than an enemy. U.S. has presented a proposal to allies aimed at securing a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, offering to ease sanctions on Moscow in exchange for a lasting ceasefire. Plan would freeze the conflict, with Russia retaining control of occupied Ukrainian territories and Ukraine NATO bid off the table. Plan remains unofficial and would not mean recognition of Russian-occupied areas, European officials have said. Poland is open to the French nukes. Polish President Andrzej Duda said France's nuclear arsenal could help Poland alongside U.S. nukes Warsaw hopes to host. These two ideas are not contradictory, Duda said. French President Macron has floated expanding France's nuclear umbrella to EU allies. France, with 300 warheads, is the EU's only nuclear power and 3 NATO nuclear states. Trump says if the Iranians get a nuclear weapon, they won't be happy because their lives will be in great danger. Yemen's Houthis have claimed to have shot down another U.S. MQ-9 Reaper UAV today, making it the 20th of one to be downed. Each Reaper UAV costs about $32 million. U.S. State Department warns of possible attacks in Syria. Advise citizens not to travel to Syria at this time and urge those already there to leave immediately. Intelligence information indicates imminent attacks in areas frequented by civilians in Syria, including markets, hotels, and places of worship. Houthis say we are ready to move to the next level of escalation with Washington. U.S. is ready to recognize Crimea as a part of Russia in a Ukraine peace deal. Final decision on Crimea has not been made. According to People, the White House and State Department didn't respond to a request for comment. U.S. officials declined to comment on the possibility of recognizing Crimea or the details of the talks. Protestantism, especially evangelicals, is increasing rapidly in the traditionally Catholic region of Latin America. Honduras and Guatemala have more Protestants than Catholics now, according to this 2024 survey. In a cold war of modern exchange rates, digital currencies from reserves are used. However, when hot war of major default does begin, nuclear weapons of gold are deployed. Translation: as the country's currencies get urinated more and more and we get closer to some kind of a financial collapse, the best thing to hold is things that are physical. Young people are converting to Catholicism en masse, driven by Rona, net, lax alternatives. According to the National Catholic Register, some dioceses are reporting year-over-year increases of 30 to 70% in new converts. Diocese of Fort Worth, Texas, for instance, experienced a 72% jump in converts just from 2023 to 2024. The ODYSEE letter: foreign investors are dumping U.S. stocks at a rapid pace. This is a problem. Investors from overseas withdrew $6.5 billion from U.S. equity funds over the last week, second largest amount on record. Endgame Macro says, absolutely wild stat, the foreigners just pulled $6.5 billion from U.S. equity funds in the week, second biggest outflow ever, only behind the March 2023 banking crisis. This isn't just noise when foreign capital, which owns $18.5 trillion in U.S. equities, $7.2 trillion in treasuries, and $4.6 trillion in corporate credit, starts dumping this fast. It's a full spectrum stress signal. We're talking nearly $30 trillion of foreign exposure that can exist faster than domestic allocators can react. Bank of America chart tells the story visually: a sharp vertical rejection of U.S. equity exposure by rest of the world funds. This is happening while volatility is spiking, U.S. tariffs are escalating, and the bond market is showing signs of internal fracture. Swap spreads going deeply negative, curve steepening violently. Question isn't whether this is a manipulation or a pullback, or is the front-running rising U.S. refinancing risk, policy error, currency war escalation. This might be the beginning of a structural reallocation, foreign institutions repositioning in response to weaponized dollar, elevated geopolitical friction, and U.S. that looks increasingly unpredictable in fiscal and foreign policy. And remember, foreigners don't panic, they rotate. If they're bailing, they're likely coordinated and forward-looking. So watching credit spread, swap basis, long treasury demand. Confirmation, those cracks further. This isn't just a dip, it's macro. Please shift. Over 10,000 documents tied to the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy have been declassified and released to the public. FDA has announced that pharmaceutical company representatives will no longer be permitted to serve on its advisory committees. Oversight Chairman James Comer says he is halting Democrat use of taxpayer funds for travel to El Salvador. Islamic Republic's leader will not allow the destruction of uranium enrichment centrifuges, the reduction of its stockpile of enriched uranium below the level agreed upon in 2015, or a complete halt to the enrichment process. Furthermore, Khamenei said they would not negotiate at all on their ballistic missile program. All the above would be enough for President Trump to understand that there is nothing anymore to talk about. So, Secretary General of Hezbollah, Sheikh Naim Qassem, we will not allow anyone to disarm Hezbollah, and the idea of disarmament must be totally removed from the dictionary. Our weapons are the pillar of the resistance. It is what liberated our country and protected the sovereignty of our dear, beloved nation. So I guess the Lebanese president fooled the world by announcing that Hezbollah agreed to disarm. Iranian regime says its red lines have been set by the supreme leader Khamenei. No dismantling of centrifuges. No halting uranium enrichment. No reduction in enriched uranium stockpile. No negotiations over its missile program. And thousands of soccer fans in the stadium in Germany were chanting, "Take my soul, Lucifer." Meanwhile, nearly 5,000 students gathered in worship to Jesus Christ at Baylor University. It's a weird, crazy, wild world, folks. Well, that's all we got for tonight. Not a long one, but it's kind of a strange weekend. And we'll be doing it again tomorrow, because that's what we do. So hit the like buttons and stuff. I got to go fix this PrepperNow video that got a copyright. So we'll go in and we'll fix that. But I appreciate you. Hit that button, darken out the bell, get the notifications. Come on back for more Crisis Report, most comprehensive news on the YouTubes. Please hit the like button and stuff as you go. And, well, have a wonderful weekend. Go outside, get your feet in the grass, chill out, do the things, and take it easy. Get some rest. God bless. PrepperNow.